Hi guys, welcome back to 100% Mag. So this is a massive game Tuesday night live on Sky Sports, the second leg of the semi-finals. Of course, the first leg seeing Newcastle United come away with a 1-0 advantage down at St Mary's. Southampton, of course, have been in action in between the two ties as well, with them coming up against Blackpool in the fourth round of the FA Cup. With them winning 2-1 in that game. There was 8 changes made to that team as well by their manager, Nathan Jones, for that game. With Prod scoring the goals for Southampton in the game. Now, looking at it, if, of course, in the event that the aggregate scores are level after 90 minutes of this second leg, an additional 30 minutes will be played. If that doesn't settle it, then it is the dreaded penalties. And of course, when the extra time is to be played, then each side would be granted an additional 6th substitute as well as per the rules. The visitors, of course, were allocated 3,708 tickets. It doesn't look like they're going to be using their full allocation, and they're not sending them back as well by the looks of it neither. So hopefully there is some way, for Newcastle to be able to issue them tickets to Newcastle United fans that want to go to the game. But it still remains to be seen what has happened with that yet. Hopefully there is some way for Newcastle fans to be able to take up them tickets instead. And following the success, of course, of Flag's appeal ahead of the Leicester game in the last round, of course, they have done it once again. They have asked for Newcastle United fans who are going to the game to bring their black and white scarves and, of course, their voices as well. We want to make this an absolutely fantastic occasion, just like the game against Leicester was, reminiscent, of course, of when Alan Shearer had his testimonial with Newcastle as well. Even so, that we're seeing Alan Shearer actually getting involved as well in his box with his Newcastle United flag as well, waving it around above his head. So, it's going to be interesting to see what we can do in this game against Southampton. I've got all the confidence in Eddie Howe and the lads that we can come away from this one with the win. And of course, we are unbeaten in our last 14 league and cup games at St James's Park since, of course, Liverpool won 1-0 in April at St James's. And looking at Southampton's team news going into the game, like I said, while we had the free weekend ahead of this second leg tie, they were in, of course, FA Cup action against Blackpool, coming away from that 2-1 winners against Blackpool, of course. And they obviously made 8 changes as well, but also Kaleta Carr also served his 1 match ban in that game as well, with the card carrying over into the FA Cup. So that means he will be available for the game against us on Tuesday night at St James's Park. So that's going to be one to watch out for, especially around the likes of Bruno and Murphy as well, if Murphy plays in the game, after the way, of course, they, kind of wound him up as he was going off, but was kind of deserved at the end of the day. The guy was being a bit of an idiot with the way he was playing the game. It was very aggressive, and it was only a matter of time, before he did see a red card for the way he was playing in that game. The referee for this game is going to be Paul Tinney. Of course, second posting of the season for the Lancashire-based official, following on from his last posting where, of course, he presided over Newcastle's 4-0 win against Aston Villa at St James's Park. And on VAR, it's going to be Darren England for the game. Of course, hopefully VAR doesn't get as involved in the game as it was down at Southampton, with, of course, seeing them rule out the opening goal in the game for Joe Linton. Obviously, Joe Linton ended up scoring his goal eventually in the game, but they did rule out a perfectly good goal by Joe Linton in, of course, the openings of the game. They also ruled out a goal for Adam Armstrong, which was justified at the end of the day because it was a handball, that one, which allowed us to come away from Southampton with a 1-0 advantage. And for the people out there that are a glass half empty kind of people, then of course you just need to look back to August of 2003 and the visit of Partizan Belgrade to St James's Park in a Champions League qualifier. Newcastle were 1-0 up in the first leg of the game. Newcastle lost 1-0 at St James's Park and were then eliminated 4-3 in the penalty shootout that followed. Hopefully, that is not what happens on Tuesday night. I want to see Newcastle making it through to the final of the League Cup. Let's be optimists, not pessimists. This is a chance for Newcastle to make it a League Cup finals. And of course, 1976, that was the last time we made it a League Cup final. And this is a big chance for us to make it all the way, with this being the very last game before the final game. And of course, you know, it is now 10 league and cup games as well, and 902 minutes since Nicky Pope, of course, last conceded a goal. That was against, of course, Southampton back on the 6th of November. And of course, the goal scorer was Perard, who scored the 2 goals in the game against Blackpool in the FA Cup for Southampton. Looking at the past meetings of Southampton at St James's Park, Southampton have won just one of their most recent 18 competitive visits to St James's, losing 13 and drawing 4. That last success, of course, for them came in the Premier League during the 14-15 campaign. It's seen them win 2-1 with Johan Gouffran scoring the only goal in the game for Newcastle. Of course, the most recent game for in total was the 21-22 season, which seen, of course, a 2-2 draw. The season before that seen a 3-2 win to Newcastle. In the 2021 season, the 1920 season seen we'll win 2-1 with Shelvey and Fernandez scoring the goals in the game. The 18-19 campaign seen we'll win 3-1 with Jose Perez bagging a hat-trick in the game. In the 17-18 campaign scene will win 3-0 with Kennedy scoring 2 goals and Matt Ritchie scoring in the game as well. In the 15-16 campaigns game seen a 2-2 draw with Cisse and Wijnaldum scoring the goals in the game. So looking at it, of course, you know, this is going to be a very interesting game. Looking at the Newcastle team news as well going into it, Matty Targett remains unavailable for Newcastle going into this game. And while the new arrival of Anthony Gordon, of course, won't be able to play in the game because he is cup tied, so he'll have to wait to get his debut in hopefully the game against West Ham, which of course is right after this game. But our focus is on this game on Tuesday night. We must make it through to the final. We've got the 1-0 advantage in our favour, and I was watching a couple of Southampton, you know, fan channels to get a feel of what they were feeling going into this game, and you know, they were saying that they were pretty glad it wasn't 2-0 to Newcastle down at St Mary's, because then it wouldn't be worth them making the trip all the way to St James's Park. Now, I've got to say, you know, it could easily be, you know, 2-0 in this game, because Newcastle could easily open the scoring from the off, you know, and make it 2-0 on the aggregate score line. And then, you know, it would pretty much be saying what the Southampton fans were saying, you know, that it would be kind of worthless them making the trip all the way up. And I've never really heard, you know, a fan base talk about the club the way Southampton fans are talking about their club. Yes, I know, you know, that they're not doing great in the league, but they're not exactly, you know, very positive towards their club. They're not supportive of their club, and I can kind of see why, you know, their players aren't playing the best football they could be playing, because the fan base, you know, for that club is just really downtrodden, very bad. You know, it's a very negative feel down there with the Southampton fan base. So, I can see Newcastle coming away from this one. I can see we're coming away from this one with the win. Now, it would be nice to come away from this game on Tuesday night with a massive win against Southampton, but in all honesty, I would just take a 1-0 win on the night, making it 2-0 on aggregates. Newcastle make it through into the final of the League Cup for the first time since 1976. Have a big, massive chance, of winning it as well. At the moment, as it stands, of course, it's Man United who the team would be facing in the final, with them, of course, picking up the result at the City Ground against Nottingham Forest. But there's always a chance, Nottingham Forest can turn things around at Old Trafford, maybe, and maybe they can make their way into the final. Either way, I'll take any of them on. Doesn't matter who it is, Nottingham Forest or Man United. At the end of the day, I'll always back Eddie Howe and the lads, 9 times out of 10 to be able to come away from the game with the win, because we are absolutely flying right now. And it's just great, to be able to witness this beautiful football that Newcastle are playing, this absolutely shithousery football as well that we're playing. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Till next time, remember to like, share, subscribe to 100% Mags, and however lads.